Hello dear friends, you will see plenty of seductive girls doing different things during this video, but please be patient and enjoy every minute of the story. This story begins with Sagiri's nightmare of her father, who looks disappointed with her. After waking up, she sees Asaemon Genji, who informs her that she was poisoned by the human-faced butterflies and lost consciousness. He also tells that they are safe in this cavern. Asaemon is a samurai who is responsible for execution of criminals and testing new swords for the shogun. Sagiri goes outside and is surprised to see Gabimaru preparing the dinner. Asaemon Senta mends her torn cloth and Yuzuriha lies down on a hammock. Sagiri wonders why they spend the precious time on cooking instead of looking for the elixir of life. Gabimaru answers that he had reservations. Senta would like to discuss what they know about the island while eating the meal. Yuzuriha is eager to have a proper meal, but becomes disappointed because Gabimaru cooked kikatsugan using various ingredients he found on the island. Gabimaru explains that he scouted out the island, but found nothing resembling the elixir of life, though he didn't search the whole island. Yuzuriha asks if Gabimaru knew something about this elixir. The shinobi lies, because he doesn't want to talk about Zenin of Iwagakure. Zenin is the highest rank of ninja with the greatest level of experience and skills. Shinobi is a skilled mercenary who is hired to carry out missions that involve assassinations and covert operations. Gabimaru recalls that the vegetation of the island is represented by a mix of familiar and unknown plants. He also believes that the missing participants of previous expeditions turned into flowers and plants. After thinking that Gabimaru had used some of those plants to cook kikatsugan, Yuzuriha throws a piece of it at Shinobi. However, Gabimaru explains that he didn't use them and couldn't find anything like mandarin-looking fruit from the illustration. Senta believes that first of all they should find out who possessed the technology to create such statues, and if the creators live on this mysterious island. Sagiri responds that people couldn't survive a long time on the island because of dangerous monsters and insects. Sagiri recalls that she didn't find any signs of organs within the monsters, and draws attention to their strange appearance. Senta said that the items worn by the monsters are poorly made, so these creatures look like malformed deities in some kind of sick mandala. Gabimaru believes that these monsters are the proof of the existence of the elixir of life that helps him to get a pardon. However, Yuzuriha adds that they possibly already dead, and this island is the afterlife. Senta explains that they should continue studying the monsters, because this is the best way to find the elixir of life. In the evening, Genji tells Sagiri to return back home, because he will assume responsibility of her assigned criminal Gabimaru. He believes that her first duty is to become a wife of the next head of the Yamada clan, and Sagiri is not capable to continue the mission since she has lost the katana, which is a warrior's heart. However, Senta doubts that it will be easy to leave this island, because only one person managed to do it. Meanwhile, Yamada Asaemon Tenza tries to escape the island with his assigned criminal Nurugai. Despite the fog, he continues to move forward, because this is the way of warrior. Nurugai says that it's not smart to exhaust himself, and a stubborn samurai should better read the currents instead of using brute force. Though Nurugai is a bit rude to Tenza, he's not offended and takes this as a wisdom of the people named Sanka. Nurugai's grandfather taught him that. Nurugai believes that he would still be executed even if he managed to get back home. A kind samurai promises that he will talk to the shogunate for Nurugai, since he's innocent and deserves to live. Tenza is happy to see a large ship in front of them, but realizes very fast that it's wrecked and surrounded by other ships that didn't manage to leave the island. After detecting some strange activity, Tenza draws his katana, but Nurugai blames him for stupidity, because shining objects and hostility provoke the animals. A massive tentacle attacks and destroys their boat. Trying to find another boat, Tenza fights back from the tentacles. Nurugai believes that it's his punishment, and recalls how he tried to help the people who were lost in the forest, but was tricked by them. These samurai were sent by shogunate to murder his tribe, because the people of this region refused to obey the shogun. In a flashback, Tenza meets Nurugai in prison, and offers him to join the Shinsenkyo expedition, because he believes that Nurugai has been wrongly sentenced. However, Nurugai doubts whether he should live as the last representative of the Sanka bloodline, or die to atone for the death of his fellow tribesmen. In the present, Tensa looks at malformed Yamada Asaemon Kisho, who is infected with the poison of island's insects. One of the tentacles tears Kisho apart, and others surround the unlucky couple. Nurugai recalls his murdered grandfather and gives up on escaping. He tells his monitor to forget about him, since his mistake was a reason why his grandfather and fellow tribesmen died. However, Tensa continues protecting Nurugai and fighting off the tentacles. He cannot understand that and asks Nurugai again if he truly wants to die. In a short flashback, Nurugai enjoys a great time with his grandfather. In the present, he tells Tensa that he changed his mind and wishes to return home. A samurai gives one of his swords and points to the boat nearby. They start to fight off the tentacles together and manage to escape the monsters. Tensa and Nurugai discuss the situation and realize that they must find the safe current to leave this dangerous island. Tensa proposes to wash off the blood and notices that his new friend looks like a girl. Nurugai explains that she is actually a girl. Tensa becomes confused and asks her to turn around. However, she falls for his chivalry and offers him to get married when they return home. Anyway, Tensa comes up with a plan to check the island and find the perfect current. He also believes that they should gather allies for the return trip. Meanwhile, Genji tells Sagiri to sail home after dawn, but Santa believes that Gabimaru has changed for the better because of Sagiri, and she can stop him if needed. During the night, Sagiri visits Gabimaru, who keeps watch. Shinobi asks her if she feels well after poisoning by insects, and confesses that she helped him to calm down and still he'll resolve to face any obstacle in his way. Gabimaru also admires how strong she actually is and encourages her with the words of wisdom from Iwagakure. In the end of the story, Sagiri has a conversation with Genji. He insists that she must leave the island and play her role as a daughter of the Yamada clan. However, Sagiri wants Genji to see her as a samurai and asks him to understand this. Genji mocks her and draws his katana, but Sagiri manages to snatch it from his hands and reminds him about losing the weapon on the battlefield. Experienced samurai becomes furious with her, but Sagiri is shocked to see Rokurota standing behind Genji and tries to warn him. He notices the scary giant and pushes Sagiri out of the way, but Rokurota is fast enough to make a fatal wound to his body. Please enjoy the next episode of Hell's Paradise Jigokuraku. This story begins with Rokurota's flashback. His parents watch how he eats and plays with some stones. In the end of the flashback, a grown Rokurota kills his parents and the people in his village. In the present, Rokurota attacks both samurai, but Genji manages to save Sagiri by pushing her out of the way. However, he takes a hard hit and is sent flying with a fatal wound. Sagiri tries to help Asaemon Genji, but he tells her to run away without him, since it's impossible to survive such serious wound. Rokurota is about to attack Sagiri, but Gabimaru kicks the furious giant away and saves his friend. Sagiri informs fearless and devoted shinobi about Rokurota. She realizes that Yamada Asaemon Aizen is probably dead, because he's no longer with his assigned criminal. Looking into the ruthless eyes of a predator, Gabimaru understands that escape would not be possible and that he will have to eliminate the giant. Gabimaru realizes that his first attack on Rokurota was ineffective and remembers the 9th lesson from Zenin of Iwagakure. He must accurately test out the enemy's abilities in order to figure out how to defeat him. Meanwhile, the giant of Bizen throws a tree at Shinobi, but Gabimaru manages to avoid it and tells Sagiri to leave this place. He sees Yuzuriha sitting on the tree and asks her for help, but beautiful Kunoichi, aka female ninja, refuses him because due to their agreement, he is responsible for fighting. She mocks the annoyed shinobi by cheering him on. Though Rokurota's swings were fast and destructive, Gabimaru avoids being hit and tries to attack the giant at a distance with ninjutsu called Ninpo Stone Storm. Neither ninjutsu called Unformed Blade nor previous one cannot make any harm to Rokurota. That's why confused shinobi is going to test all his ninjutsu to find out which one is the best suited for such battle. Ninjutsu is the superhuman power and main fighting style used by ninja. Meanwhile, Genji asks Sagiri to leave him behind, since no treatment can help his recovery, but she stays with him. Dying Asaemon believes that she is a strange person who earlier blustered like a man, but now is acting like a woman. Sagiri answers that the only thing important to her is keeping him alive. Hearing this, Genji understands her true nature. Sagiri embodies the middle way by accepting opposite concepts as a part of herself. Asking to kill Rokurota, Genji gives her his katana and admits that she truly became Yamada Asaemon. Meanwhile, Gabimaru comes to the conclusion that he will have to team up with someone against Rokurota, since close-quarter combat is too dangerous and projectiles are ineffective. Gabimaru dodges another attack by Rokurota and notices him crying after his little finger is cut off. It was Sagiri who explains the method how to cut even the strongest body. Shinobi asks for her assistance and they unite against the giant. Asaemon's center is pinned by Yuzuriha, but asks her to release him, since he wants to tend Genji's wounds. However, she refuses to do it, since she believed that Asaemon is probably dead, and that Santa is not a type of a person who really cares about others. She notices no monsters around, and says that they should keep an eye on fighting beneath, and retreat once their competitors are dead. On the battlefield, Gabimaru offers Sagiri to split up, because he is going to distract the giant, so she will have time to make Rokurota kneel by cutting his legs. After Gabimaru deflects Rokurota's punch with a kick, Sagiri attacks him from his blind spot, but after recalling Aizen and Genji's faces, she becomes unable to cut off his leg and dodges his attack. The samurai realizes that she must ignore her emotions and remain calm in order to succeed. After avoiding the giant's next attack, Gabimaru notices that his leg is strained, and Sagiri is not able to cut Rokurota's hand, since his movements close the gaps between his bones. She informs Gabimaru that killing Rokurota with a single blow requires him to hunch over, which is a problem they have to solve. Rokurota's stomach rumbles, and the giant starts crying like a child. Gabimaru is stunned by loud noise and takes direct hit from his enemy. He looks badly injured and cannot move. Sagiri rushes to Shinobi and wants to protect him from the incoming danger. She recalls the sea waves, suppresses her emotions and remains calm. After remembering Genji's words about the middle way, she accepts both emotion and reason. It helps her concentrate and deflect the giant's next attacks. Yuzuriha becomes impressed by how Sagiri fights against Rokurota. Santa explains that Sagiri has 12th rank in Tameshi Itoru because of her suitability to lead the Yamada clan, but her fighting skills is much better. Genji notices that she has a lack of experience, but when her hesitation vanishes, she fights even better than first-rate Asaemon. Looking at her, Gabimaru feels how strong Sagiri actually is. Meanwhile, Rokurota loses his balance and Sagiri tries to approach and behead him. However, the fast giant jumps away before Samurai could use her katana. Though Sagiri missed the opportunity, Shinobi has come up with a cunning idea how to make Rokurota bow his head. Gabimaru activates Ninpo Ascetic Blaze and combines it with various ninjutsu, which makes Yuzuriha to escape the area with Santa. Shinobi starts to attack Rokurota with burning stones, but the giant deflects them towards the forest. After hitting Rokurota with a burning tree, Gabimaru stops fighting because he did enough for his plan to work. Running away, Yuzuriha tells her monitor about Gabimaru's plan to use a forest fire for poisoning the giant with the smoke produced by the oil in the wood. After inhaling a lot of smoke, Rokurota falls to his knees, and Sagiri quickly approaches him with katana poised to strike at his neck. Rokurota tries to hit her, but Gabimaru pins down the giant's hand and asks Sagiri to use this chance. She is ready to behead the criminal calmly and fiercely. After ringing from a bell, Rokurota recalls his childhood, when he couldn't satisfy his hunger and nobody wanted to play with him. In the present, Sagiri apologizes for understanding too late that he was a frightened child in a body of ruthless monster. She hopes that he will rest in peace together with his victims. Before running from the flames, Sagiri looks at Genji, who is already dead. Remembering him and Aizen, Sagiri shed a tear, but realizes that she must remain strong. Gabimaru and Sagiri see the monsters, who move toward the flame. After having a conversation with his Asaemon, Gabimaru decides to continue searching for Elixir of Life, because he wants to see his wife as soon as possible. Sagiri realizes that she shouldn't worry about her fellow samurai, but find the elixir and release them from their duties. Hearing this, Gabimaru understands that Sagiri finally has become his ally. After catching up with Yuzuriha and Senta, they see an abandoned village in the distance. Senta wonders if Senin lives there. Senin is a title of the beings who have trained for centuries in the ways of Taoism, granting them powers of regeneration, longevity, and the ability to manipulate the life force energy Tao. In the end of the story, criminal Asa Chobei and his brother Toma fight against the monsters. After killing them, Toma tells his brother a legend about Senin of Shinsenke. King of Bandits senses something and goes in its direction with his younger brother. After a short walk, they find two beautiful women kissing each other on the top of strange building. This video is based on a brand new supernatural anime, Hell's Paradise Jigokuraku. Release date April 1st, 2023. This dark fantasy anime is created by Studio Mappa and directed by Kaori Makita. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe for videos like this. Please comment this video and share it with your friends. Thank you very much for watching.